Hey guys, it's Papagino. This is a nice tournament battle I've had yesterday actually, and let's look at the details of it. It's pretty straightforward. There's this 46 mana cap which allows for some decently beefy units to be played. It's definitely on the mid to heavier range of things, so nice. These are the splinters available. You can see my opponent chose to go for this water strategy. And this is a very interesting, let's say, summoner for the water splinter with this magic buff. Very reminiscent of Ulrich Stormbringer from a few years ago from the wild format. Obviously, this is a much worse summoner from the foundation set because it costs 6 mana instead of 3, so it's a pretty heavy concession, but you can definitely get away with it, especially at 46 mana cap. And the buff, of course, it's quite strong, especially in Novice and Bronze where I play. It's like there's not really that many cards that do a great job at countering the magic. So it's a very serious strategy actually, even though it's a foundation card. This is by far the scariest and really just one of the few useful cards from that set. And yeah, my opponent went for this. It could have either gone for this, or maybe since that Splinter was available, if he had Lorcus, which I guess he doesn't have, he might have gone for the same magic strategy, but with a slightly stronger summoner there. But okay, he chose to go with the magic one. And yeah, I was tempted to do a few different things here. It was actually an interesting battle for me because this was my very first time with the global warming rule set. So basically it applies, you can see the burning effect to all units, so it's going to be a pretty messy and quick battle, is what I figured. I chose, well, we'll get into it in a minute, but yeah, this was my first time seeing this because I haven't played much ranked. I've been only mostly playing in guild brawls and tournaments lately, so I wasn't quite ready for this, but I figured it would be nice to invest in a few key beefy big units that can take a tick or two of this dangerous burning effect before dying. And yeah, that's why I chose, for instance, this mid shield, the very famous Alfling refugee, to absorb a hit or two before dying, to give a more of a prospect of a presence in the future on the front line for my tank Mantarot there. So I figured even if he couldn't attack right away, this guy would die, and then he would get into first place, and it all would work out quite nicely, which I think it did. Then I invested also quite heavily in this magic attacker Barash Kukor, very strong legendary card, although it didn't perform too well here, and we'll see in a minute what happens. So yeah, I was mostly banking on Barash Kukor and Mantarot to do some damage, and then maybe, well, this was a filler card, of course, and it's gonna die rather quickly, but I was kind of hoping that Venka the Vile and this Medogre Anarchist would also put in some damage, because my opponent actually didn't have even much armor. It's only the Shaman here that has the armor, but in general, I was hoping between the piercing and all the various burning and all that they could inflict some heavy physical damage and put some chaos on the board, essentially. So I chose to apply the Lorcus buff that gives trample, essentially, because as you can see, the other rule set was Stampede, so trample can actually trigger multiple times. It can be a very strong effect, especially, well, with Vanka, it's just straight up a great synergy, as you can imagine. But even in general, if some of these units they don't have a lot of armor, this Stampede and Trample together can be quite effective in the right circumstance. So there's that. And yeah, I mean, I could have gone for a few other different things. I could have done the same thing as my opponent, so go heavy on the magic, and with Lorcus, I guess I could have went for the Life Leech effect instead. That would have been nice as well, I guess. And yeah, I just saw this Stampede. I thought to give this one a try as well. And well, I guess we can see what happens, but yeah, I guess I could have gone for a few different things. Also, I'm just realizing there's a notable absence of a card here. The Arachne Weaver is not present for my Death Splinter setup. I definitely could have opted out of a few cards. I mean, it's easy in hindsight, but like perhaps the Medogre Anarchist with Opportunity wasn't needed as much. I could have slotted in the Arachne Weaver instead and just rely on its ceiling to get through some of the burning and attacks from my opponent as well. And yeah, just a little bit more healthy in general. That might have been a decent strategy as well. Also, it occurred to me I could have gone with the Death Splinter as well, but instead of Lorcus, I could have chosen the Death Summoner from this current expansion. Don't remember its name, but it's the gnome one, the one that has a synergy with gnomes, and it gives close range. So it has a synergy with archers and range units, and it also has the very specific Pain Forge skill. It gives it to all the gnomes, and basically I think it works pretty sure with Poisoned, Reckless, and Burning as well. So every gnome with that summoner that takes burning damage, and there's bound to be a few, will be empowered. Their attack will go up potentially even a few times. But I don't have that summoner leveled up. I just think I have it at level 1, and I don't have too many gnomes and stuff like that. And in general, Lorcus is very strong, so I guess I opted out of that, but that could have been a nice choice as well for this specific rule set. I'm thinking some of the cards that can benefit from the Painforge effect for the most part, they're not too big, they're not too beefy, so they might die quickly at the end of the day, but maybe just one or two could have made a big difference with that summoner. I don't know. So between that and maybe the Arachne Weaver and some damage mitigation somewhere, I could have also done well there. Of course, also a few different strategies. Dragon was available. I don't have any dragon summoners that are very strong, but that could have been a nice choice as well. Otherwise, Life was available. I was renting Tofu, so technically I could have played it with Life, but like I chose to go for this Death thing with the Stampede and all instead, and we'll see what happens in a moment. Let's watch what happens, for instance, in the first round. So, okay, I forgot to mention my opponent lineup is also quite interesting. He also opted for this meat shield against magic, so I was expecting some magic as well. An important choice there, and he will play, in fact, a role quite soon, this Dagendark Surveyor. And otherwise, he went straight up for all the magic. It has all the beefy guys, so the Shaman, of course, very strong card. It's never missing. And the Shock Trooper as well with the 4, now 5 magic damage, absurdly strong here. And I don't know, I think he gets to do one attack twice in spite of the burning and the electrified and everything. So it's still a very strong summoner, this one, because it really amplifies the magic and it pushes forward this very cheeky strategy. And then a couple of interesting choices. I guess this one just to provide a little bit of healing, and then he went with these two. So it's a very funny team that they pushed in these last expansions with the sneak attacks with magic. There used to be some cards in the old days that did that. Then during Chaos Legion and whatnot, as far as I know, at least, there weren't as many, but now they brought it back. And for instance, for the Water Splinter, there's this card, and then there's also this one, which I didn't know that it was a thing. And again, it's not a very good card. It's, I think, from the Foundation again, so it's like it's just okay out, pretty slow, 2 damage, but it's magic damage, and it's for 8 mana. It's not a great card, but thanks to this synergy and this very strong summoner, it can catch, I'm sure, many people off guard. So interesting to note that some of these, well, it's really all about this summoner, really, but even just using these two can be quite effective sometimes. I bet can be quite deadly. So yeah, those were the choices for my opponent. It's a very tricky strategy, but I'm sure it works. And I've actually used, even in some tournaments, sometimes maybe trying to be sneaky as a surprise weapon. I think I've used in a couple of matches this summoner as well with this magic strategy. It's quite it's quite effective, to be honest, in spite of the very high cost of the summoner and everything. But okay, as you can see, my poor guy Barash Kukurir, which I had such high hopes for, is already catching strays because of these two guys right here. So we can see what happens. Yeah, basically the Daigendark Surveyor, I should have highlighted that earlier perhaps, reflects 50% of the incoming magic damage back to the attacker, and since Barash Kukur is 6 with Lorcus, it reflects back 3, so it's basically a 2 mana card, which in this instance, because of these two guys and all, it traded itself down for a 13 mana card, is it? I think, Barash Kukur, so it's a pretty dang good deal. Of course, part of the work was done by these guys too, but still you get the idea. And sadly, my backline is very exposed now. This guy, well, it's not too long for the ward, but sadly even Venka is about to die in a minute here. We can see we trade a few blows here and there. This was my first instance of trample, so in a way the strategy paid off, because thanks to Mantarot, I was able to work through this very strong unit and even trample another attack. There we go on the Shock Trooper, very important attack, of course. And we can see what happens now in a few moments. We got one more attack, then the burning goes off. My Venka sadly dies. It didn't put in quite as much work as I was hoping. And surprisingly, as you can see here, it's now, yeah, I get, thankfully the sneak attack deviated the attack that would have been fatal for the Mantarot, and now because of the armored strike and everything, all this magic is completely ignoring the armor, so I get to do the armored strike as well. And I do this very funny domino effect with my Mantarot and the multiple instances of trample, so it was a quite scenic win. I don't think I played the best combination of cards, to be honest, but it still worked out, and it was quite fun in the moment, because I submitted my team towards the end here, so I could see the battles resolve in real time, more or less, and I was really excited to see that in the end I still won somehow. So in the end, the trample strategy paid off, but it was very tough against all this magic. I think going forward, there's only a few things you can do really, but I'm thinking for my next purchases, perhaps I wanna try and combat all these magic attacks a little bit more with the summoners and the units I choose. There's not too many choices, but I think there are some that are very valid. So it was an interesting battle, very simple and quick, but also exciting. So I'm happy to share it. And this was part of my experience in a recent tournament. I will make a Hive post highlighting a few more battles like this and the results and the experience and everything. And this will be my submission as usual for the Splinterlands social media challenge on Hive. And I will probably make some more. Maybe next week I'll do another one. So I'll see you then. Bye bye.